Hey everyone, Sparksy here, and today I'm doing a deck profile on Eternatus VMAX. Now, this is going to be a little different to other ones you might have seen. This deck is aimed more at new players, and in particular, new junior players. In fact, my 10-year-old nephew asked me to teach him how to play Pokemon, and this is the deck I've built for him. Why Eternatus VMAX? Well, kids like to play with their, fancy, shiny cards, their Vs and stuff. So having a deck based around a VMAX, is going to keep the kids happy. But not only that, Eternatus VMAX is just a strong, powerful deck. It's a tournament-worthy deck at any level. But I have streamlined this version to make it very new player and very kid-friendly. This is a deck that new players can take to a tournament and win many games with. It might not be the most powerful version of the deck, but it will definitely teach you how to play the basics of this game. So, what is in this deck? Well, we have, to start off with, 4 Eternatus V, and this card is here basically to become Eternatus VMAX, which we have 4 of. So, Eternatus VMAX, what does it do? So, it has an attack for a dark and a colorless, and it does 30 damage for every dark type Pokemon you have in play. But this attack gets even better when you read its ability. If all your Pokemon in play are dark type, you can have up to 8 Pokemon on your bench. So with 8 Pokemon on the bench, Eternatus VMAX in the active, that's 9 in play, that's 270 damage. 270 is enough to knock out every Pokemon except for other VMAX Pokemon, but there's not a lot of Pokemon in the game at the moment that can knock out a VMAX in one turn. So we're probably not going to get knocked out ourselves, meaning that we can just keep doing a lot of damage. And also, every Pokemon in our deck is going to be a dark type because of that ability. So our main strategy here is to draw a lot of cards and set up Eternatus VMAX very quickly, hopefully on turn 2, maybe even 2 Eternatus VMAXs by turn 2, and then just hit for a lot of damage over and over and over again. How do we draw a lot of cards? Well, that comes with our next card. That is 4 Crobat V. Crobat V is played in a lot of decks because of its ability. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you may draw cards until you have 6 cards in your hand. You can only use this ability once per turn, but drawing cards is so powerful and gives you so many more options. The more cards you see, the more options you have. It's so good. To help with our damage output, we're also going to play 4 Galarian Zigzagoon. This has an ability. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you may put 1 damage counter on one of your opponent's Pokemon. It doesn't have to be the active. This is where some strategy can come into it, and the more experience you get with this deck and against other decks, you'll learn where to put this 10 damage, this 1 damage counter. It can help set up KOs in the future, meaning you need less Pokemon, or set up KOs for some of our other Pokemon that we're about to show. It provides 30 damage for being a dark type Pokemon on your bench, but that extra 10 can help in other areas. Next we have Galarian Moltres V. Now this is a support Pokemon and our backup attacker. First, its attack. For dark colors, it does 190 damage, and then it does 30 to itself. But if you're going to attack with this, it's more designed, I attack with it, and I sort of finish the game. I need to just do a bit of damage to finish the game, or take a really big, important KO. But we also play this mainly for its ability. Once during your turn, you may attach a Dark Energy card from your discard pile to this Pokemon, and you can only use 1 of it per turn. So, in situations, let's say we have, we attach to Eternatus VMAX on turn 1, we can play Galarian Moltres V, use its ability. Turn 2, We attach to Eternatus VMAX again, and we can use Moltres' ability again. So now we've got Eternatus VMAX with 2 energy, Moltres with 2 energy, and then on turn 3, you can attach to this from your hand, it's ready to attack, or use its ability again, and use your attachment for turn on, say, a backup Eternatus VMAX. You can also power this up in 2 turns. Say turn 2, you put this into play, use its ability. Then on turn 3, use its ability again, and then attach from your hand. So you can power this up very quickly and take KOs where you need to, when you need to with it. The last card we have, I don't own. It's Galarian Moltres, the normal version. It comes out in Evolving Skies. Evolving Skies pre-releases are happening this weekend as I record. However, in Australia, Evolving Skies has been delayed, and it's not coming out for about another month at time of recording. So I don't own this card yet. It's the only card you need from the new set. But what does it do? It has an ability that says when you play it to your bench, you can attach 2 energy cards, 2 dark energy cards to it from your hand, and it's for an attack, which is dark colorless. It does 20 damage plus 50 more for every prize card your opponent has taken. So, first of all, its ability lets us put more energy into play, which is really going to help us out with some other strategy stuff we'll talk about. But then its attack, if you need to, say your opponent's knocked out an Eternatus VMAX, they've knocked out a Galarian Moltres, they've taken 5 prizes. That means Galarian Moltres is hitting for 270 damage, the same as the VMAX. But it, depending on the situation, maybe it's a little easier to set up. You know, if it's at the end of the game, we've run out of Pokemon on our bench, you know, this could come in and finish the game for us. And that is all the Pokemon we play. As I said before, it's a very sort of V and VMAX heavy deck, so that'll keep the kids happy. And we play a lot of 4-ofs, just to, because that's the most you can play of a card, and it just makes it very easy to find the cards you're looking for when you need to find them. You know, these ones, they're not as important to the strategy. We only need like one of these into play, and this we're only going to use every so-so. Yeah, so it's just a much easier if you have 4 of a lot of things. Next, we will move on to the supporter cards. Here we have 4 Professor's Research and 4 Professor's Orders. Boss's Orders. Professor's Research. Discard your hand, draw 7 cards. This is probably the most powerful card in the game ever made. It's been around, you know, versions of this card has been around since the very start, since base set Pokemon back in like 1999. And it's always been good. Seeing more cards just gives you more options, makes it better. So the idea is that on sort of, you know, on your first turn, second turn, you want to use Professor's Research, you Crobat Vs, draw as many cards as you can, and set up as many, you know, or 2 Eternatus VMAX is what we're looking to set up. And then on turn sort of 3, 4 onwards, we're looking to use Boss's Orders. Boss's Orders says switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active Pokemon. So now we're going to start targeting, you know, certain Pokemon on our opponent's side. Once we're set up our side, we want to knock out their main attacker, or, you know, a very key important setup Pokemon for them, you know, or maybe we just need 2 more prizes to win, so we're just going to knock out a Crobat V because it's a lot easier than knocking out their big bulky VMAX Pokemon. So that's the general idea for those cards. Next we have our item cards. We have 4 Quick Ball. Quick Ball's an item, discard a card from your hand and go search for a basic Pokemon. Every Pokemon in our deck is a basic except for the VMAX, except for Eternatus VMAX. So this can search out, you know, almost all of the Pokemon in our deck, allowing us to do whatever it is we need to do on our turn. But because that can't search out the VMAX, we're also playing 4 Great Ball. Great Ball says, look at the top 7 cards of your deck. You may reveal a Pokemon you find there, put it into your hand. So this can find the VMAX, this can find every Pokemon in your deck. The downside is it does have to be in the top 7, but with us playing 19 Pokemon, you know, you should find at least a Pokemon in the top 7. and then you will learn as the more you play how to maximize your odds of making sure you get a Pokemon. Next, we're playing 4 copies of Energy Switch, and this is where a lot of strategy can come into it, where you can learn your strategies. Energy Switch says, move a basic energy from one of your Pokemon to another Pokemon. So if we have no energy in play at all, we can attach from our hand to Eternatus VMAX for the turn, use Galarian Moltres V's ability to get an energy out of the discard pile, then use Energy Switch to move it from Moltres V to Eternatus VMAX, and now Eternatus VMAX is ready to attack. So on a turn where our opponent might think, oh, we've got no energy, we can't attack, now we're hitting for, hopefully 270 damage. We keep that pressure on by just doing a lot of damage over and over and over again. Throughout a game, there will be situations where we don't have the Pokemon we want active, and that's where Switch and Air Balloon come in. Switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon, and Air Balloon reduces the retreat cost of your Pokemon by 2. So all the Pokemon in our deck have a retreat cost of 2 or less, except for Eternatus VMAX. But most times, Eternatus VMAX is the Pokemon we want active, so it doesn't matter if it is active, because that's the one we want active. But yes, this will help you get Eternatus VMAX into the active so that we can attack and do that big damage like we want to. Next, we have 2 Ordinary Rod. Ordinary Rod has 2 effects. Shuffle up to 2 Pokemon from your discard pile into your deck, and shuffle up to 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your deck. So this is used for a few reasons. First of all, like I said, on turns 1, 2, 3, we want to draw as many cards as we can. That might mean discarding cards that we want later in the game. So this is going to put those energy cards, those Pokemon that we had to, discard early, this will put them back into the deck and help us, that way we've always got the Pokemon we want when we need them. The other thing is, if we don't have an Eternatus VMAX in play, or the VMAX ability gets turned off, we have to, reduce our bench from 8 back down to 5. And we discard those Pokemon into the discard pile, so Ordinary Rod can put them back into the deck, ready for us to find again and use when we need. On a similar train of thought, we have 1 Power Pad. Power Pad shuffles 2 supporter cards from your discard pile back into your deck. Usually how we're using this is, again, very early on we use Professor's Research. We might have to discard some Boss's Orders. Power Pad can put those Boss's Orders back into the deck so that we always have them, towards the end of the game when we need them to take those final prizes that we're looking for. And then our last trainer card is 4 Rose Tower. This is a stadium card. Now, what does Rose Tower do? Once during each player's turn, that player may draw cards until they have 3 cards in their hand. I will admit, this is not the best stadium, but it's the best one for Eternatus VMAX at the moment. I put an asterisk here and say that when a better stadium comes out, look to replace it. But for now, this is the best we have, and it does let us draw more cards, which, as I've been saying, is what we want to do. We really want to, speed through this deck as fast as we can. Now, you might ask, why do we even need to play a stadium? It's because there's a stadium out there, past the peak, that shuts off like V and VMAX Pokemon's abilities. So, as you've seen, we're a very ability-heavy deck. We need to have our abilities working. So if our opponent plays that card, we have to be able to play our own stadium to get rid of it and turn our abilities back on. And that's why we're playing 4 of them. As you get a bit more advanced, a bit more used to this, and you can work out the different strategies in the game, you might look to change some of these cards around. But that is the general idea of the deck. To finish off with, we have our energy cards. And because all of our Pokemon are dark types, they attack for dark energy. We are playing 10 basic dark energy. Now, other decks might play some special energies, things like that. But we just want to keep things very simple. All of our abilities work around basic energy. The energy switch can only move basic energy. Ordinary rod can only shuffle in basic energy. So let's remove the stress of, I've got a special but I need a basic, all that stuff. Let's keep it nice and simple. And we're just going to use basic dark energy. And that is the deck. Now, hopefully I remembered in editing to put the prices of cards up to give you an idea of how much this deck costs. Now, as help, I'll say that the Eternatus V and VMAX that I have here, these are promo cards. They come in a Eternatus VMAX box. You can hopefully see the promo symbol there. So you get this in a box with some packs and a few other things that'll make it easy to come by them. Cards like Crobat V come in a few different sets, and there's even the shiny version now in the Shining Fates boxes, so that becomes a lot easier to find. But there's a product out there called a Trainer's Toolkit, and it comes with it's a black and blue box. It's the second Trainer's Toolkit, but it comes with ordinary rods, air balloons, switches, quick balls, boss's orders, professor's research, Crobat Vs. So yeah, a lot of the cards we're playing in this deck, you get like 2 copies of them in this Trainer's Toolkit. And the main reason why we're getting these cards is because cards like these ones are in almost every deck. And that's another reason why I recommend playing this deck, as your first deck kind of thing into the competitive world. Because if you do decide to change decks at any point, you can use half of this deck in almost any deck you decide to play. But if you liked this, please leave a like, subscribe. I will be coming back next week with advice on stuff you need for tournament play, and then we'll get back into some more pack openings. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm happy to answer. And if you'd like to see any more decks, let me know which decks you'd like to see. But until then, stay safe.